Welcome to the Business Spotlight. I'm Dr. Mike Smith from the St. Louis region, and today I've got Jaime Jay on and interviewing him. Jaime, tell us the name of your company and tell us a little bit about your company.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Mike Smith, for having me. I really appreciate it. My name is Jaime Jay. I am the CEO and founder of Bottleneck Distant Assistance, which is the world's first dedicated distant assistant company. And we offer more than just remote staffing. We provide dedicated, highly skilled um, human beings in anything administrivia. So we who are very tech enabled, by the way. We noticed there's a big challenge coming with confusion with virtual assistants, especially post COVID. And so what
Right.
we've been able to do is redefine a new or define a new category in the distant assistance, and we're really excited about working with companies and supporting them. And our provocative point of view is stop doing the wrong thing so you can focus on doing your best work.
That's awesome. So we did a little bit of chatting before the interview. You've been in this industry for quite a while. Um,
18 years.
yeah, great. 18 years. That's quite a while. And what would you do differently if you had to start from square one in your business again?
Oh, um, I would have started a lot sooner. I was in corporate America for 12 years. It took me 11 years to figure out how to get out. Had I understood what I know now, I would have been out of corporate America a lot sooner.
Right.
Yeah, I would have also really doubled down on systems and processes and the importance of documentation. It took me a while to finally write my book, and I did, and it's all based on the power of documenting everything. And what I say, it's kind of like that saying, have you heard, when's the best time to plant a tree? Right? It's like 20 years ago, right?
Yeah,
When's the
right.
second best time to plant that tree? Today.
That's
Well,
right.
when most people start their businesses, they start their companies, the last thing on their mind is documenting. And there's a favorite saying, one of my favorite sayings that I learned from Scott Beebe is do something as if it's the last time you're ever going to do it. And what
Oh,
that
wow.
means to me is document, document, document. So you take all of the things, and you're an E-Myth fan,
Right.
um, and what you find in there is there's such a passion to do whatever it is that you want to do. But then when you start doing that, you start having to do things that you like accounting and the bookkeeping and the all this other stuff and the sales and the stuff that doesn't really empower you or motivate you or give you drive. And so what I would have done differently is I would have started documenting day one. I wouldn't have
Gotcha.
waited till I've worked through things and then said, oh my gosh, now I got to plug this hole. We got to fix this. I got to document this. Oh my gosh, now I have to hire somebody because things are going crazy. I don't have time to train this person, but I got to
Right.
hire. Had I documented all of that stuff, it would have reduced that overwhelm, that stress, all of that stuff. And I
Yeah.
think that's probably what the biggest lesson is that I would have probably done differently is documented a lot earlier.
That's excellent. So tell us the name of your book.
And the name of my book is Quit Repeating Yourself. How
That's great.
today's businesses are helping how today's businesses are built the right way.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Congratulations on writing that book.
Thank
I
you.
wanted, so you're in the people business and the activities of getting things done business. So I want to ask you a few questions around that. Um, what qualities do you look for when you hire employees? What are some of the qualities that you look for?
So it depends on the role and it depends on the client who we're looking for this as far as placement. But speaking from my own internal team, the qualities that we look for are people that embrace culture, a positive work culture, and which has been extremely difficult to do. And a lot of people have realized that challenge that having a positive work culture, especially after COVID. And so we've identified 6 key roles here that thrive in a remote environment and both maintain productivity and a high level of efficiency with the underlying tone that positive culture realizes. And what's really important for me here at Bottleneck is that no one on our team, there's hierarchy, but there's not, so to speak,
Right.
right?
Right.
But no one on our team should ever be afraid to disagree with me publicly
Okay.
in a
Great.
in a in a in a meeting, in a company meeting, whatever. I want them to feel as if as though they're able to say, I don't understand that, or I don't agree with that. Have you considered this? And I love that. And in any organization that kind of stamps that out, I really feel that it's only a matter of time until your
Right.
team leaves or that those members leave.
That's great because my second part of the question was how do you foster a positive and productive work environment? So you answered that right in there. So that was a great segue in. Yeah, today's world is changing on how we treat employees, and with the low unemployment rate, the COVID that happened to us, et cetera, there's a lot of changes in our world. So what are some of the what are some of the biggest learnings that you've had as an employer since you began in business? 18 years ago, you got a different looking employee than you got 18 years later, right? What are some of the biggest learnings that you've had as being an employer?
That's a great question. Number one is probably patience,
Hmm.
um, and understanding that what's in my cranium here needs to
Hmm.
get out, and writing down, understanding and being okay with failure,
Hmm.
massive failure in
Right.
that time, and understanding that I'm not always right, unfortunately,
All
um,
right.
and having the wherewithal to, or the humility to take direction from others. And
Right.
for me, that was really challenging. I think the other thing that I've learned that's probably the biggest, though, overarching,
Right.
is when I worked in corporate America, it was all about like every day you were 100 miles an hour. You just
Yes.
and numbers and this and that and get this and do that, and I've learned to kind of calm myself down a little bit and not
Right.
take everything so seriously. And therefore, I do not believe in work-life balance at all. I believe
Mhm.
in life balance. And I think your personal life is as important as your professional life, vice versa, but it's all one life that you're living. And no matter where you're at, my simple philosophy is be intentional about where you're at. Just be
Wow.
there. So if I'm here
That's
with you right now, there's nothing else going on. If I'm out at the cabin on the weekends, guess what? I'm out at the cabin on the weekends.
right.
That's probably the biggest life lesson I've learned from being in business.
That's great. As you hire employees, because you talked about the six different areas that you find folks in, and as we go through and look at that, do you use any of the assessments like DISC or E-Colors, Predictive Index, Myers-Briggs? Do you use any of those assessments before you hire?
Absolutely. Yeah, personality assessments big time. We receive between 2,000 and 2,500 applications a month. We approve about
Well,
5% of them. And they go through a pretty heavy duty vetting process, including a personality assessment that we've created. And we've kind of partnered with another organization where we kind of cross thread the assessments together for one single output that for us means a lot. And so yeah, we've done disc before though. We've done, I mean, I can't even tell you all the different ones that we've tried in the past.
right, right.
But thankfully, leveraging AI and the technology there, we're able to kind of tweak it a little bit better for our benefit so that they're consistent when they come across. And it depends on the role and it depends on the client. It depends on what their belief system is and how they operate as far as how we pair them so that we make sure that we get the right fit. So there's a lot of things that we got to go through there, and I think that's probably a huge reason why traditionally virtual assistants on average have a 38% turnover. We have an
Mhm.
8.7% turnover. Lifetime value of a virtual assistant's approximately 5 months. With us, it's 39 months. And a lot of that has to do with early vetting and
Mhm.
personality and right match.
Wow, that is phenomenal. Those are phenomenal metrics for all of you who are listening in today. Um, I want to talk to you a little bit about what are some of the misconceptions? We've got family and friends, and what are some of the common business misconceptions, and how do you address them with your family and friends?
Um, can you elaborate on that question?
So, so we have, family and friends, and they think, you own a business. They're like, oh, wow, you're so lucky. You've got all this money. You've got all these things. What are some of the misconceptions that your friends and families have, and how do you address those with them?
A lot of people don't understand what it is that I do. They're like, well, seriously, what do you do? And so I have to explain it to them. And basically, the irony is I was fired from a staffing agency
Okay.
many, many years ago. And now I kind of
Yeah.
own one. So
Yeah.
I kind of break it down because one of the most challenging things that I've experienced is creating a category. In that
Okay.
category, using category design. And category design has allowed me to create the distant assistant, the dedicated distant assistant. Well, people want to know, what is a distant assistant? For people that are not doing what we kind of do here, they don't even really know what a virtual assistant is. They may have an inkling, but if you go
Mhm.
Google virtual assistant, chances are you're going to come up with something electronic, AI, something, right?
Right.
Digital. So I try to, it's really hard to create a new category because you're constantly educating. You're
Right.
constantly educating. What is a distant assistant? What is this business? How is it going to help me? How do we even know? I would have never known, that it takes a long time. So this was about 3 years ago that we started doing this, and we're starting to hear people say, oh, I'm looking for a distant assistant to hire. And I jump up and down like, woohoo, yes, that's fantastic. But the challenge is telling people in layman's terms, so to speak,
Mhm.
what this is. And I think maybe remote staffing, staffing agency, but remote. And then they go, oh, I got it. Okay, I got it. So I'm trying little by little, we're chipping away at it to educate people more and more so that they have an understanding firsthand of what a distant assistant is. I really want it to be powerful. I mean, I've written a book. I've been a case study in another book, and I've been interviewed in Forbes and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm really trying hard to put those words, because words matter, together so that people understand the difference of a distant assistant versus a virtual assistant. There's massive differences.
Excellent. Excellent. I think that is a great, I think that's a great analogy when you talked about the category and the category design. I think most businesses don't think about that. They want to kind of come in and compete with the status quo that's out there. And you're right, when you use virtual assistants, especially with the enclave of AI, I think it's going to have to be recategorized because people think that's chatbots, things are automated, not a human being on the other end. And I like the way you started. We hire human beings to actually do virtuals, this virtual assisting. Great. So over this period of time, tell me a little bit about, and you can kind of mix these questions together, but the world has changed since the pandemic, and you've obviously had significant growth. But tell us what changes you've adopted since the global pandemic in your business. What's changed in your business that's made it better or worse, and how have you adapted to it?
Well, the massive change that comes to my mind is the category. we,
Mhm.
we created a brand new category, and that was directly related as a result of what occurred when
Right,
COVID took place. So that
right.
that was probably our biggest, is I really dug deep in category design. A
Mhm.
good friend of mine was one of the co-authors of Play Bigger, and that's what they wrote about.
Mhm.
And I really, really, really dove into that because I had to figure out how we could differentiate ourselves. And I didn't want to be better than anybody. Because
Mhm.
and this is going to be very unpopular, by the way, you may even say, what are you talking about? I don't believe in a go-to market strategy. I am anti go-to market strategy because that
Okay.
infers immediately that I am creating somebody that another category has already been created. Therefore, I'm going
Okay.
to go to market into this category. How do I make myself like these people, only better? All of a
Right.
sudden, I'm getting a competitive race. And now all of a sudden, oh, we are better than we're the best company in the world. Well, now all of a sudden you're comparing yourself to other people in this industry. And you don't want to do that because now you've heard Coke, Pepsi, right?
Right.
They're always going after, and they'll even have a Pepsi in a Coke commercial, and somebody will step on the Pepsi can to reach up and buy a Coke or vice versa.
Right.
Pepsi didn't pay any money for that, but they're stoked. Now they're getting all this advertising for free.
That's right.
I don't want to do that. I don't have
Right.
any competitors. I don't.
Mhm.
But I do have people I can refer business to that
Okay.
don't align with our category. and our category has to be very specific. And it's so powerful when you start thinking differently rather than how you start thinking, I'm better than. It's a world of difference on the outcome. And that's probably the biggest realization that came out of
Mhm.
the practice of category design. And I would challenge people that are, for instance, for you, coaching consultant. There's a lot of
Okay.
coaches and consultants out there.
Right.
The question you ask is not what makes you better, but what makes you different.
Right.
And those right there, what makes yours different? That's your talking points. That's your selling points. I don't know any other assistant in the entire world
Mhm.
who understands and has gone through training of how to do workflow management. Never heard of
That's
that.
true. Right.
But a distant assistant now understands workflow management, and they will build workflow manuals for every single one of our clients, or any distant assistant that does this training will actually document processes for their clients over and beyond the responsibilities within their given role and their skill set, right?
Oh,
That's
wow.
a distant assistant. That's a differentiator, right? It's
Right.
nothing better than, it's
Right.
just different.
Yes. Those are very good points. Very good points. So I think this segues a little bit into the next question. That is really, what do you attribute your growth to? And I've heard a lot of differentiation, the new category that you created, but tell us, what's any secret sauce that you have out there that's helped you really attribute your growth? Because you've had to take some time and go through and educate others on what a distant assistant is versus a virtual assistant, right? And tell us a bit about how do you attribute your growth to that?
I think we can't be everything to everybody. And as painful as that may be, turning down opportunities
Right,
because it may not be a particular strength of ours. By the
right,
way, going back to your question earlier, that's another thing I learned.
right,
The power of no is
right.
pretty powerful. Saying
That's
no,
right.
and so what we've done. There was a study conducted at a software company out of New York.
Mhm,
234 people, I think they had at the company at that
mhm,
particular time. Everybody got sent home for COVID. They found out and it was a software company, so obviously they got a lot of programmers and developers,
right,
and their role depends upon how much lines of code they write every day,
right.
right? They experience, get this, a 78% increase in the amount of coding
Oh,
remotely
wow.
versus being in the office.
Oh, wow.
Amazing,
That's
78%. That's
phenomenal.
insane.
That is phenomenal.
So when they said, okay, let's submit our code, guess what happened? Massive delays because of bugs, because you lost that collaborative element of being
Oh,
in the
okay.
office and working back and forth with each other. So it actually took longer to release updates and things like that. And it was kind of like a wow, okay, so we have to figure this out. But they identified six roles where they can stay remote, be efficient, high level of productivity, and still align with the cultural value of the company and the belief system. And that was an executive assistant, project coordinator. It was a success manager, like sales support,
Hmm.
customer service, social media, and a bookkeeper.
Oh,
Those
wow.
are the six roles, which is why those six roles are what we specialize in here at Bottleneck. And I think that's the and we won't fluctuate. Like that's us. Anything, I call it anything administrivia. So we don't
Hmm.
do any copywriting. We don't do anything strategic. No
Right,
strategy, but
right.
we specialize really good on administrative support,
Oh, wow. Those are really
niching
phenomenal.
down.
Wow. Those are really great ideas. It's been a great interview today with you. I wanted to see if there's anything else that you want to share with us. And I see your book listed back there. I'll make sure I'll make a highlight of that and we'll try to get some kind of link out there as well. Sounds like a really great book. I'll put that on my list to buy after the call. So anything else you want to share with us today before we start to wrap up here?
I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to be a part of your platform and you asked some tremendous questions today. I just have a lot of fun. I really, really do appreciate this. This is kind of what keeps me going and keeps our team relevant. And I just thank you for giving me this opportunity, because it's things like this. We're so fortunate to have this level of technology right now,
Yes.
that kind of allows us to share a lot easier. So I just want to say thank you so much for this, and I really appreciate you, and I'm here to support you too. So you please let me know what we can do, and we'd love to return the favor and put you in the spotlight in our newsletter.
I sure will. So I do want to wrap up with one thing. So I'm in Business Network International, BNI. There's a lot of networking groups that are out there. I use BNI. I think it's one of the best. So if as we're talking to the audience here today, if I took you to a networking meeting, who is your ideal customer, and then who is your ideal referral partner?
Yeah, this is great. An ideal customer, and this is so strange. You never think this, but it's construction companies.
Really?
Unbelievable, because they're out in the field all the time. But the construction companies, we've really been fortunate in being able to really support their executives. And then any agencies and coaches and consultants, those are the ones that I've been a coach and consultant in the past. I had an ad agency, so I kind of understand the lingo. And so those are the three probably industries that are best. And then as far as somebody that we could support from an administrative point of view, and then yeah, I would guess good partners are people that are dealing with people in those
Mhm.
industries and are supporting them already, maybe their clients or their friends or their colleagues. Those are good people for us to partner up with, and we do pretty good here as far as taking the referrals, and doing business with those referrals, but also working it both ways. So I talk to business owners every single day. That's our
Right.
client, right? And so I oftentimes will set up a page on my site, and I'll say, hey, you're looking for this. Like maybe somebody needs, since I'm doing remote based all over the world, right? They
Right.
might need a voice over IP system to talk with these people. So
Right.
I have a partner, and I go to my website, bottleneck.online/phone service, and it's a really nice warm introduction to introduce them out to someone else. So happy to do that for you as well.
Well, I greatly appreciate that. So let's wrap up. Tell us one more time the name of your company, what you do, and how someone can get a hold of you.
Thank you. Bottleneck Distant Assistance is the name of the company. You can go to bottleneck.online. And yeah, we'd love to chat with anybody that's interested. And again, thank you so much, Dr.
Yeah.
Mike Smith.
Yeah. Thank you for visiting today. We greatly appreciate it.